Hi you guys, it's Mrs. Shepherd. Today we are going to review a different method of division, but before we do, I want to tell you a story. So as many of you know, I grew up downstate. I didn't grow up in northern Michigan, I grew up in southeast Michigan, and my family still lives there. Every once in a while, I drive down to see them, and it takes me about 4 hours to get to my mom and dad's house where I grew up. Now, I know how to get there by heart. It takes me, like I said, 4 hours. I have to take about 4 turns until I get to the highway. Then once I'm on the highway, it's pretty easy to get to my mom and dad's house from there. I take the highway almost all the way downstate. What I realized last time I was getting ready to go to my mom and dad's house was there's actually a faster way to get there. It's faster by 12 minutes. I looked at the steps and I looked at the route, and I actually decided to just stick to my normal route. I knew it was gonna take me 12 more minutes to get there, but that's the route that I know by heart that makes me feel comfortable. If I were to take a route that I have never taken before, there's a better chance that I might take a wrong turn or get lost. Now, some of you might be thinking, Mrs. Shepherd, what on earth does this have to do with division? Well, my point is that the fastest way to get somewhere is not always what's best for you. Just like I said, the best way for me to get home to see my mom and dad is actually a little bit longer of a way than the fastest way, but it's the way that I choose because it makes me feel comfortable. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to math. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Your teachers always teach you multiple methods to do each one. It's not because you have to learn them. We don't teach you them because we think you need to know every single method there is. We teach them to you so that you can choose which method you feel most comfortable with and which method makes the most sense to you. It doesn't have to be the fastest method, and it doesn't have to be the method that all of your friends like, or maybe the one that your parents used when they were little. It just has to be the one that makes the most sense to you. Like me, when I drive to my mom and dad's, I take a longer route, and that's okay. So if you choose a method of multiplication or division or addition or subtraction that takes a little longer, that's okay too. Your goal is to get from the beginning of the problem to the end of the problem. Hi you guys, today we are going to divide a number using the box method of division, also known as the place value section method. It's very similar to our box method of multiplication, and you will see kind of how they are similar in just a moment. But the first thing that we have to do is make sure that we set up the problem correctly. Just like any strategy that you use to multiply, divide, add, or subtract, you have to make sure you set it up correctly in order to set yourself up for success. So if we look at my board here, everything that's written here in black, you will write every time you use this method. Notice that I have the word hundreds in the first box. Underneath it, I have 2 zeros. This number right here will always be a multiple of 100. Here, I have the tens. I'm gonna write that word tens, and I will write a 0 here. This number will always be a multiple of 10. And then finally I write ones, nothing down here because this number will always be a 1-digit number. In blue, I have my starting numbers. So I am dividing 738 by 6. Now you'll notice I have these blue lines up here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this 6 and I'm going to rewrite it each time up top. And you'll see why in just a moment. Now, my first question that I'm going to ask myself is about the hundreds. How many 600s can I fit in 738? Now, everything that I do from here on out, I'm going to write in green, just a way to keep the different parts of the problem separate. So if I think, how many times can I fit 600 into 738? Well, I can definitely fit one 600, but probably not 2. 2 would be too many. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that number up here. I can fit one 600 into the number 738. The next thing I'm going to do is subtract. 1/600 is 600. And when I subtract, I get 138. So next I'm going to move on to my next column here. I'm going to take this number that I ended up with, and I'm just going to scoot it over to the top of this box. Now I have to ask myself, I'm going to kind of start the process over, but in the tens. How many times can I fit 6 tens into 138? Well, first I have to know, how many is 6 tens? Well, 6 tens is 60. How many times can I fit 60 into 138? Well, I know I can fit it once. Let's see. 60 plus 60 gives me 120. That's still less than 138, so I can fit 2 60s. But 3 60s would be too many. So I know I can fit 2 groups of 6 tens. And now I just need to subtract those 2 groups of 6 tens. That's 120, remember. I subtract here. And again, I'm going to take this number that I ended on. I'm going to scoot it up to the next column. And I'm going to ask myself again, how many times can I fit 6 ones into 18? Well, I know I can fit 1 6. 2 6s gives me 12. I know I can fit 2 6s. 3 6s gives me 18, so I can definitely fit 3 6s. Actually, I can fit exactly 3 6s. So I'm going to go ahead and write that number up here. I'm going to write down how many 3 groups of 6 ones is, or 3 times 6. That's 18. I subtract and I get 0. Now this right here is my remainder. But first I have to figure out, okay, so I've done all the hard work. What's the actual answer? You're going to add this number, and this number together to get your answer. And then, like I said, this number is your remainder. In this example, our remainder will be 0. So I have 100 plus 20 plus 3 gives me 123 with the remainder of 0. All right, so that was the box method or place value section method of division. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, the box method of division is similar to the box method of multiplication. They are similar not just because they both use a box, but because they both focus on place value. Place value in math is super important. You need to understand place value in order to be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Thank you for watching my video. I hope that it helped. If you have any questions, let me know. If you are practicing this method, you can always rewatch the video and pause after each step so that we can work alongside together as you figure out how to use the method. If you prefer the standard algorithm of division, I have a video for that too, and I will link it down below. As always, be safe, have fun, and listen to your parents.